After nearly a year of silence, Lil Jeff's killer has finally broken his silence, revealing shocking details about what really happened that day, and what the cameras never showed. What he said changes everything.
I think that I was like, damn, it's 6 out there, you know? It's crazy, bro.
You're not gonna believe this. The truth behind Lil Jeff's murder is way deeper than we ever imagined. What if I told you that someone gave Trap City Rob a heads up just minutes before the shooting, and that warning is the only reason he stood on business that day? So now the question is, who backdoored Lil Jeff? Was it someone from his own circle? The Bloodhound Gang? And why did his homies just stand there, watching him get lit up without even firing back? All those questions finally get answered in the killer's long-awaited confession. Let's get into it, in a twist no one saw coming. Trap City Rob, the man accused of pulling the trigger, has finally broken his silence. And his side of the story, wild. According to Rob, he had no choice but to stand on business after Lil Jeff and his crew cornered his homeboy in the middle of Trap City. Here's how it all went down. It was June 8, 2024. Surveillance footage shows Bloodhound members, Lil Jeff, Q50, and another man pulling up in a black SUV, clearly on a mission. They were stalking a rival in the heart of the city, waiting for the perfect moment. When the target finally appeared, wearing bright yellow shorts, Lil Jeff jumped out, gun in hand, and started chasing him through the street, firing shots. The guy ducked for cover and bolted toward a nearby porch. Lil Jeff was right behind him, dressed in a black Nike hoodie and gray joggers, pushing with full intent. But here's where it gets real crazy. None of his homies followed. They stayed by the SUV, squeezing off shots at the car that dropped off the target but never backed Jeff up. Then boom, a hail of gunfire erupts from the alley. Bullets start flying everywhere. Lil Jeff walks straight into an ambush. The second he gets to that porch, it's game over. Someone from inside the house opens fire, and his team is way too far to help. They just stood there, watching. From the video, it looks like the shooter kept dumping rounds while Jeff was already down. And the worst part, his crew barely reacted. A few weak shots toward the house, then they retreat. They left their guy on the porch, bleeding out. Police later confirmed that shell casings were found right next to the door, meaning Jeff got stood over and finished off right there. That porch pillar gave the shooter perfect cover. There was no way for Jeff's people to return fire without getting smoked themselves. But it doesn't end there. Right after the shots stopped, the killer, believed to be Trap City Rob, jumped off the porch and started firing at Jeff's crew. Q50, the one in the red jumpsuit, can be seen limping back to the car, likely caught a bullet in the foot. One Reddit user pointed this out. The moment their big homie dropped, the whole vibe changed. You can literally see them lower their weapons in shock, like, damn, it's over. Then, just seconds later, they snap back and try to retaliate, but it's too late. Lil Jeff took nearly 19 bullets to the chest. You can see his body drop at the end of the footage. Still, his crew circled back, scooped him up, and rushed him to the hospital, but it was already done. He was pronounced dead on arrival. Another witness confirmed it. The black SUV used to drop him off matched the one seen on camera. And when you look up the address on Google Maps, everything checks out: the angles, the cars, the porch, even the silver Jeep across the street. That's likely where the camera footage came from. Now here's the wildest part. Despite keeping a low profile for months, Trap City Rob finally confessed in an exclusive interview with Block 2. Block, he admitted he was the shooter and gave his full side of the story, a version that paints a very different picture than what the cameras captured. He says he wasn't hunting for drama that day, but when 6 guys, including Lil Jeff, came barreling down the street after his boy, he had no choice but to protect him. That's when he grabbed his piece, posted up behind the door, and waited. And the rest, it's history, now told from the shooter's mouth.
Damn. Okay, so is there anything about that case you want to clear up and just touch about, bro? Because I see you got a whole different perspective.
I see the videos, I see that shit. I was like, damn, it's 6 out there, you know? It's crazy, bro.
Now that's a whole different angle. How did he even know there were 6 people there? The viral video that made the rounds never showed that many. That might just be where Trap City slipped up. But here's what's wild. Even after the flawless counterattack, Rob didn't brag. He said he was just doing what had to be done to protect his block. And honestly, that might be facts. A resurfaced clip shows Trap City Rob posted up on the same front porch where Lil Jeff lost his life.com. Quiet, just watching everything. One fan even commented, "He's like some troll in a cave. You don't even know he's there, until it's too late." That porch was his spot. And he held it down. No wonder people started calling him the Defensive Player of the Year. Later in his block-to-block interview, Rob finally explained why he was always out front. Simple, he's hyper-aware, always watching, always ready.
I'm conscious, bro, like, I'm in my environment, but I understand the overall, you know what I'm saying?
And here's where it gets even crazier. During that same interview, you could see Trap City Rob and his homies, Black and Terror, constantly scanning left and right, checking every angle like trained soldiers. That alone tells you one thing: Chicago is not for beginners. These streets aren't just dangerous, they're calculated war zones. But then Trap City Rob dropped a bomb. In a rare moment of raw honesty, he showed a deeper side, revealing what he believes is the real game behind drill rap. According to him, drill music isn't just a genre, it's a trap. A psychological setup to pit young black men against each other. Rob said it's all by design. They want us to kill each other over nothing, and we keep falling for it. That's why, he says, every little beef turns deadly. One wrong look, one petty argument, and somebody's getting run up on. Chilling stuff. And the kind of truth that most won't say out loud.
Black man is very underdeveloped and undereducated in America, bro.
Ooh, not me?
No, just listen, bro. When it comes to emotional intelligence, reasoning, and people getting shot over shoes and that's not being emotionally intelligent.
Trap City Rob's calm, confident answers during the interview had the hood talking, and in a good way. One viewer commented, "Rob is what you call a grown man." Another chimed in, "These dudes are mature." Jeff was just a kid acting, reckless, running up on some OGs without thinking. That's the difference. OGs have rules, structure, and control. Jeff didn't move like that. The interviewer then brought up a viral meme that's been floating around Reddit, Rob's face photoshopped onto Malcolm X's iconic window photo, with the caption, "Protect the trap." The comments under it? Wild. Some even joked Rob should run for president and win. But when asked about it, Trap City Rob just smirked and said he's seen it, but he's not here for internet clout. He's about real-life respect, not likes and retweets.
I don't even like it, so I don't need internet.
Trap City Rob knows better than to brag, and that alone shows how calculated he really is. He understands that flexing about the hit would only pour more gas on an already raging fire. Because in Chicago, every block wants revenge. Every hood wants to slide for their fallen homie, and that's exactly how this endless cycle of blood keeps spinning. This isn't just beef anymore. It's a full-blown hood war, a war that refuses to die. In a past interview that broke down Lil Jeff's street life, even he admitted the streets raised him. He said he'd been out there since he turned 18, living that life, running missions, and moving with purpose like a rapping hitman. And unfortunately, that path only ever ends two ways.
So around what age did you jump off the porch and start hanging out in the streets?
I'm gonna say when I came outside for real, I was like 18 type.
Okay.
I just turned like 18.
Eyewitnesses reported hearing 10 to 15 gunshots tear through the air, fast, loud, and ruthless. In just seconds, the shooters vanished. One local shopkeeper, Muhammad Ashik, described,
But the shit I'm doing now is I've been seeing my whole life, you know what I'm saying? I told you I got an older brother.
But Bloodhound Lil
So
Jeff
this
made it
shit ain't
clear,
nothing new
even
for
though
us.
he
It's
jumped
the
off
same
the
shit
porch
I've been
later than
seeing.
most, he wasn't new to the streets. According to Jeff, his older brother had already laced him up on how it really goes down out there. The violence, the code, the cold reality of street life. He may have been young, but he wasn't clueless.
Motherfuckers used to hang with them, they know what they did.
So, okay.
They know what they did.
So, okay, the Bloodhounds, y'all was cool.
Lil Jeff,
That was my homie.
he stole a chain, bro. We tried like he took it. He stole my home chain.
Just in case you didn't know, Lil Jeff's older brother is none other than Djibouti. And here's where it gets interesting. The deadly beef between Drill City and Trap City, the same war that took the lives of young street soldiers like Lil Jeff, actually started with OGs like J-Boogie. Now, here's the twist. J-Boogie and Trap City Rob. They're from the same era, same age bracket, and used to be cool back in the day. In a YouTube interview with Block to Block, Trap City Rob confirmed it himself. The two hoods had peace, Until the day the bloodhounds snatched one of their homies' chains. That moment flipped everything. And from there, it was all downhill.
When two cars pulled up and a group of individuals exited said vehicles, fired multiple times, striking two of the teenage students of Innovations High School. These individuals were taken to Northwestern Hospital where they succumbed to their
But
injuries.
if you look a little deeper, you'll realize the story goes way beyond what Trap City Rob said. For Bloodhound, Lil Jeff, this wasn't just some turf war. It was personal. The real feud started with the death of someone close, his cousin Zoni. Let me take you back. In the early days of Lil Jeff's street rise, his big homie Jugi caught a serious charge and got sent upstate. With Jugi behind bars, Jeff's cousin Zoni, also known as Z Money, stepped up. He became like an older brother, mentoring Jeff, helping him move through the streets, and handling business from the background while giving Jeff the spotlight. But everything changed on March 16, 2023. That day, Zoni was sitting in his car on the 1300 block of East 79th Street. Right near the Kimbark intersection in the Avalon Park neighborhood, he was parked outside a dry cleaner. Probably just minding his own business when, out of nowhere, another vehicle pulled up and started letting off shots. Zoni was hit and rushed to the University of Chicago Medical Center. But it was too late, he didn't make it. His death shattered the Bloodhounds, but no one took it harder than Lil Jeff. Zoni had protected him, guided him, stood in for his brother. Now, he was gone. To honor him, Jeff and his right-hand man Q50 both tatted Zoni's name on their skin. But that tribute wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of a blood-soaked chapter. Whispers started to circle on Reddit, and in the streets, Zoni was allegedly backdoored by his own old friends in Trap City. The betrayal hit hard. And Lil Jeff, he wasn't one to just let rumors slide. He needed answers and revenge. Soon, he had a target. Lil Pooh, a Trap City affiliate, who had been dissing Z Money, loud and reckless, like he didn't care. He was moving around the city like everything was sweet, showing up in familiar spots, acting untouchable. But Lil Jeff was patient. He didn't strike right away. He watched, waited, and plotted. Then came April 9, 2023-D-Day. Lil Jeff and the Bloodhounds decided Lil Pooh wasn't making it to summer, but instead of spinning the block, Jeff pulled up like a ghost, waiting outside Lil Pooh's home like a guard dog, silent, focused, ready. When Lil Pooh finally returned home that night to rest, Jeff was waiting, and he sent him to his grave. According to the Chicago Police Department, shots rang out around 11:30 p.m. on the 1800 block of 223rd Street. Officers found the victim, later ID'd as Pierre Boozer Jr., unresponsive in his front yard. Multiple gunshot wounds. He died where he fell. No one snitched. No one talked to the cops. But in the streets, everybody knew, and Jeff made sure the message was clear. He recorded a diss track, unreleased, where he hinted at the hit with cold precision. Lil Pooh dissed Z, now Lil Pooh gone. You know that sh*T never take too long. Laying in the grass until he come home. Word was, Jeff never dropped the track publicly out of respect for certain alliances, but when Lil Pooh's homie posted a tribute photo, Jeff sent a brutal reminder. No Zoni disrespect will be tolerated. But it didn't stop there. After tasting revenge, Jeff wasn't done. He didn't go back to his shell. He went back to the streets. Hunting. One of the most brutal moments that followed, the murder of BKN, Lil Rob and Monty captured on camera. It all went down at Innovations High School in downtown Chicago, near the Loop area. It was around 12:30 p.m., broad daylight. Lil Rob and Monty were heading out for lunch toward Washington Street and Wabash Avenue, completely unaware they were walking into a setup as the two teens casually approached an elevator structure. A dark SUV pulled up from beneath the train tracks. One man jumped out with heat in his hand and opened fire. Bullets flew. Lil Rob and Monty dropped. The shooter then sprinted back to the SUV and sped off, first toward Wabash and south, then a left on Madison before vanishing. Although only one car was visible on camera, CPD Deputy Chief John later confirmed that two cars were actually involved in the ambush. They both let off multiple rounds at the group of teens. No mercy, no hesitation. It was another devastating chapter in this spiraling war, a war born from loyalty, betrayal, revenge, and loss.
Like a firecracker, like a something like a firecracker, like a 10-15 shot. Boom, 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 boom.
Eyewitnesses reported hearing 10 to 15 gunshots tear through the air, Fast, loud, and ruthless. In just seconds, the shooters vanished. One local shopkeeper, Muhammad Ashik, described the chaos from his perspective, saying the shots sounded just like firecrackers. Like a firecracker, he repeated quick pops that you don't recognize as gunfire until it's too late.
Feel if I get mad enough, will start happening. And y'all know this by now. I went for like a week, and poof. Gotta go after that one. Poof. I came back. Poof.
If the shots sounded like firecrackers, that wasn't by accident. It likely means at least one of the shooters had a Glock with a switch, turning that pistol into a fully automatic weapon. And when those rounds let off, it didn't just sound like gunfire, it sounded like explosions. This wasn't just a hit, it was an execution. The city was shaken. People were mourning. Well, not everyone, because just hours after the double murder, the suspected mastermind behind the hit decided to hop on Instagram Live, and that's when things took a sickening turn. Smirking through the screen, he dropped subtle but chilling hints, bragging that he'd just added 2 more bodies to his count. No remorse, no fear, just a man flexing death like it was another achievement. It was raw, bold, and absolutely disrespectful. But in this street war, disrespect is currency. And that lived. That was a statement.
Tell the op.
We got like 50K down. That fake AP they got.
Lil Jeff was so cold with it, fans of the drill scene couldn't help but ask, why did he chase down Lil Rob and Monty with that level of precision? Well, here's the real reason. Word on the street is, back in the day, Lil Rob and Monty allegedly robbed Lil Jeff, took his jewelry, disrespected him, and didn't stop there. They went online and kicked off a full-blown trolling campaign, throwing shots at the bloodhounds. The BKN boys even mocked the robbery, claiming Jeff's jewelry was fake. For Jeff, that wasn't just beef, it was personal. And payback was inevitable.
On my dead grandmother's head, if I'm lying, I'm down. God could come pull me out this car right now. I never took a dollar from nothing. A nigga said, let me take a picture, this, that, and that. I look up, the nigga then ran down. We all the way at the top of the staircase first off.
They didn't just get Lil Rob and Monty, they flexed about it afterward like it was a trophy run. The alleged hitters bragged about the bounty price, flashing not 1 but 2 watches they claimed were taken off the victims during the hit. But here's where it gets hilarious, one of those watches. Fake. It was an iced-out piece designed to look like a legit Audemars Piguet AP. But sharp-eyed users on Reddit weren't fooled. One commenter quickly pointed out that the clasp had AGLD logo, an online jewelry brand known for selling gold-plated, non-authentic drip. In short, cap. Once the news hit the streets, Lil Jeff wasn't having it. He jumped on Instagram Live, calling out the narrative. According to him, nobody took anything off him by force. He claimed the dudes just wanted to check out the watches, and ran off with them when he wasn't paying attention. No pressure, no robbery. But in the world they live in, even the smallest flex or fake chain can spark real bullets.
Does it make it worse when it's like videos and people reacting to it? And they're trying to say you slipped and fell, and you saying I wasn't even there, right?
I wasn't even there. Stop saying I was done, man.
Not long after the robbery, YouTuber Word from the Trenches featured Monty and several BKN members on his vlog, and they came with nothing but smoke. They repeatedly flexed the watches they stole and bragged about the hit like it was a trophy. In that same vlog, Monty even got a FaceTime call from none other than Lil Jeff. The energy was tense. Monty kicked off the call by asking, "Where the J at?" Meaning, where's that jewelry? Then, right on camera, he flashed the stolen watch, smirking as the rest of the BKN crew joined in trolling both Lil Jeff and the entire Bloodhound set. But if there's one thing everyone knows about Lil Jeff, it's this: he doesn't take disrespect lightly. Almost a year after the robbery and trolling, the Chicago Police Department finally made a breakthrough in the investigation. Their first big move: the arrest of Tommy Coleman, a known bloodhound and associate of Lil Jeff. He was picked up on the 5700 block of North Mason and slapped with double murder charges. Then, earlier this year, a second suspect was revealed: 20-year-old James Allison, aka JMO Bloodhound. Word in the streets was that Lil Jeff himself was next on CPD's radar. But fate had other plans. When news broke that Lil Jeff had been killed, allegedly by Trap City Rob, the internet exploded. One fan even posted, "He killed Lil Rob. Now he got by Big Rob." A cold line, but it captured the tragic cycle. In the streets, revenge is currency, and the only real exit is a body bag. But here's the real question. Why did Reddit pin Lil Jeff's body on Trap City Rob? As soon as Jeff's death hit the news, Chicago drill forums lit up, especially the Churicology subreddit, a digital battlefield where fans analyze every move in the drill scene. Memes, disses, and wild claims flooded in, most pointing fingers at Trap City Rob. Why? Because Rob had been arrested multiple times at the exact apartment where the shots that killed Jeff were fired. Some Reddit detectives focused on identifying the shooter, others zeroed in on the team Jeff pulled up with. Remember the dude in the red jumpsuit? Fans quickly ID'd him as Q50, and trolls had a field day after it looked like he got hit during the drill. But Q50 wasn't having it. He jumped online and denied even being involved.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Too bad is it that he get to see y'all. I'm glad though he can see y'all talk about him all day.
Q50 can deny it all he wants, but when it comes to the streets, the truth always finds its way out. And once again, the Reddit detectives were on point. They identified the guy in the yellow shorts, the same one Lil Jeff was chasing in the viral footage, as none other than Trap City Glenn. And here's the twist. That wasn't the first time Lil Jeff came for him. According to street rumors, now backed by a resurfaced video, Lil Jeff had previously caught Glenn slipping at a store and emptied 15 shots in his direction. Somehow, Glenn survived. Twice, this dude had a reputation for dodging death like it was second nature, and Lil Jeff, he seemed obsessed with finishing the job. In the resurfaced clip, Lil Jeff casually recounts the moment he ran up on Glenn in that store, confirming what the streets had been whispering for months. No cap. The beef was deep, personal, and unfinished.